It sure is great to be back in North Alabama. I want to start by saying that it's an honor to be your representative, and I'm excited to share the things I've been working on in Washington, D.C. I can't say that the last year and a half has been predictable, but my job is to try to make your lives more predictable, from reducing regulatory burdens that choke American businesses to representing our region through the annual defense bill and appropriations process. My staff and I are committed to making Washington work for you. We've held mobile office hours in rural communities over 30 times, including 7 in Madison County alone. My office has held more than 1,100 meetings with constituents, companies, and organizations in the 5th District. This includes site visits to places like manufacturing facilities, ribbon cuttings, and farm tours. I'm extremely proud of the services my office has been able to offer to our constituents. We've served over 1,500 constituents through casework and federal government agencies like the VA, IRS, returning over $18 million owed to the people of North Alabama. And we're just getting started. Since I've got to D.C., I've scored huge wins for North Alabama and brought hundreds of millions of dollars back home. I secured $18.5 million in last year's appropriation bill to improve local infrastructure and ensure our law enforcement officers are equipped to protect our communities. The 5th District has been awarded over $159 million in federal grants. And to top it off, last year's NDAA authorized over $500 million for research, development, and the continued improvements of North Alabama's Redstone Arsenal. We are all excited to see what happens in November, but in the meantime, we're keeping our momentum high. We're fighting back against the Biden administration's disastrous border and economic policies. We've passed bills to defend our national security, rein in wasteful government spending, and unleash American energy potential. And that doesn't even scratch the surface. The House has taken 400 votes just this year and sent 83 bills to the President's desk. Since I saw you last, I've been working on several pieces of legislation that are crucial to North Alabama. It wasn't that long ago that I met with many of you at the Space and Rocket Center to talk about North Alabama's FY25 defense priorities. The House NDAA passed on a bipartisan vote and includes historic pay raises for our service members, including a 19.5% pay bump for junior enlisted. The Biden administration's economic policies have resulted in crippling inflation for everyone. Our service members are no different. It's simple. No service member should be forced to choose between serving their country and providing for their families. The House NDAA also addresses acquisition reforms that modify the DoD's milestone process to reduce redundant contracting requirements, strengthens our missile defense and space capabilities by reversing the Biden administration's decision to cease SM-3 1B missile production, which happens right down the road at Redstone. There's a lot included for North Alabama in the House-passed NDAA and Defense Appropriation Bill. We still have a long way to go until this year's NDAA is signed into law, but I will continue to fight for our community. The work we do here protects this nation. My colleagues will be the first to tell you I talk about the incredible workforce here every chance I get. Whether it's in a hearing, meeting, or casual conversation, there isn't a day that goes by where I'm not sharing about the Tennessee Valley in Washington, D.C. I've even brought some of those colleagues down to Huntsville so they can see firsthand the work that we do here. I'm not only focused on the service members of today, but I'm also working to improve the quality of life for veterans here at home. I introduced the Service Act to expand resources for local law enforcement to form dedicated response teams specifically for calls involving veterans in crisis. Another pillar of our community is space exploration, the lifeblood of Huntsville. We are known as the Rocket City for a reason. America's road to space runs straight through Huntsville, from the Apollo mission to the shuttle program, and now to the Space Launch System and everything in between. The United States leadership in space cannot happen without Marshall Space Flight Center. Our commercial space industry is booming too. Last year, NASA's historic test stand, 4670, roared back to life after 25 years of sitting empty. Last month, the House Science, Space, and Technology Committee passed the NASA reauthorization bill, marking a significant step forward for our space programs and community in North Alabama. The bill directs NASA to leverage key exploration assets, including the Space Launch System and the Orion crew vehicle, to carry out the Artemis missions, to get man and woman to the moon for the first time in 50 years, and then focus on the journey to Mars. The Human Landing System program, managed right here at Marshall Space Flight Center, will continue to drive the space industry forward and cement our global partnership in space with U.S. values at the forefront. The Artemis mission does not just reflect an achievement of this community, but of our entire nation. With numerous Artemis contractors based right here in Huntsville, this program's success is a testament to the hard work, dedication, and expertise of each and every one of you. As many of you know, I also serve on the Committee on Homeland Security. The crisis at our southern border is one of the biggest issues America faces today. Under the Biden-Harris administration, we have seen an explosion of illegal aliens crossing our southern border. Our Border Patrol agents are overwhelmed. The negative consequences can be felt throughout our country, including right here in Alabama. Open borders have not just brought significant financial costs to the American taxpayers, but has also brought credible threats to our homeland. For this reason, I have led several initiatives to combat these reckless border policies and ensure the safety of American citizens in an evolving threat landscape. I introduced a bill to establish a national counter-UAS training center. We must be able to combat emerging threats to our homeland and to ensure law enforcement is equipped and prepared to protect our communities. These complex threats require intelligent solutions, and no one does that better than us. If anyone understands the need for counter-UAS, it's Huntsville, Alabama. In fact, Huntsville International Airport is one of the 4 UAS detection and mitigation research program test sites in the nation. This fall, we have a choice between 2 paths for our nation. The current path we are on chokes private enterprise and will continue to build a regulatory state that stifles the innovation that makes America the greatest nation in the world. We need a new direction. We need to shrink the size of government and unburden American businesses from overregulation. We have an opportunity to reprioritize our government and decide what kind of nation we want to leave our children. Do we want to leave them a nation crippled by debt, with a terrible economy, and no hope of achieving what their parents and grandparents have? Or do we want to leave them a nation that leads the world in innovation, where they can truly live the American dream, the United States of America that we all grew up in? I know the path that I will be choosing, and that is to prioritize all of you in North Alabama. If you've heard me say it once, you've heard me say it 100 times. I work for you. It is my honor to serve as your representative in Washington, D.C. I truly believe that Huntsville and Alabama are the best places to live in this entire country. With the hard work of all of you, I have no doubt that our finest hours are still ahead.